Welcome back, fam. I hope all is well with you. I hope you're managing to stay warm, or as warm as one possibly can be with these frigid temperatures. As many of you know, I was gone for the last few days. I did not preach on Sunday, and so this is not going to be a reflection on the sermon for Sunday, but rather maybe a little snippet of my trip, which I wanted to share with all of you. If you're interested, I think there's something there for us to be inspired by and grow from. You'll notice that I have this on my head because I'm still getting myself adjusted, reacclimated to my home, because I was in a balmy Savannah, Georgia, which when I left, I think was probably somewhere between 23 and 24 degrees. So I couldn't even justify putting on a jacket yesterday as we were driving up to the airport. So it's a little different. So a little travel, a 3-hour plane trip, and I'm back in sub-zero temperatures, and it is definitely cold. But happy to be back home, getting readjusted, settled in. And one of the places that I got to visit while Anne-Marie and I were down in Savannah and Hilton Head and St. Helena Island was the Penn Center. And I purchased a copy of this book. It's a history of the Penn Center. Now, you probably don't know about the Penn Center, but it's got an interesting connection to Canada, because one of the early leaders, teachers, and fundraisers for the Penn Center was a Quaker from Canada, from Ontario. So what the Penn Center is that during the Civil War, when Union troops came in, the Southern plantation owners and the Confederacy abandoned that area of South Carolina. And so newly emancipated persons were given opportunities to work for themselves, and they also desperately wanted to learn, because as many of you know, they were denied that opportunity. And so there were considerable efforts made to provide educational structures that would allow them the opportunity to grow, to learn, so that they could go and become not only landowners themselves, but business persons, that they could invest and build a self-governing community, which they did on St. Helena Island. You may have heard of the Gullah Geechee people. So that is how they identify themselves. That is their culture. Gullah comes from Angola, which is where a large number of the slaves were taken from in West Africa. And the Geechee comes from the Gitsi tribe in what is now called Sierra Leone. And so together, they were able to create their own language and distinct culture. And the Penn Center, which is now a part of the preservation efforts of Gullah Geechee culture, was designed to provide educational opportunities. It was born in a church. And throughout the South, Congregationalists, which are a part of our heritage in the United Church of Canada, as well as our sibling denomination, the United Church of Christ, went down and gave of their time and poured 20, 30, 40 years of their life into building up institutions. The great number of HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, as well as educational centers like Penn Center, were started, funded, and operated by support from the Congregationalist communities, not just the Congregationalists, but also the Quakers and the Unitarians. In fact, Penn Center was helmed in large part, and a lot of the money was raised by Laura Town, who was a Unitarian from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I share that because sitting there, listening to the history of this amazing place, despite the difficulty, the struggle, the suffering that had to be endured in that space, what came of it in terms of opportunities for solidarity and relationship and empowerment was inspiring to me. And so Anne-Marie and I were both very moved, and it got me to thinking about what we can still do. There is so much yet to be done, and that we, as the United Church of Canada, stand on the shoulders of giants who've been engaged in these types of empowering struggles for a long time. So I hope that me sharing a little bit about the Penn Center today has inspired you, has inspired all of us to continue to move forward, because I think together at FSA, and of course with the United Church collectively, there is so much more that we can do to build a better world, a more just, a more peaceful world, but it requires commitment. It requires that we put our feet in, maybe both feet in. Sometimes we're good at putting one foot, but we've got to put both feet in so that we can truly see the yield that the Spirit has for us in the coming days, months, and years. Thanks for being with me, and I will see you this Sunday and certainly next Tuesday for the postscript.